everybody. Welcome to the Board Game Barbecue episode number 238, brought to you by Advent Games and our lovely Patreons. Tonight on the show, there's myself, Sarah. I actually remember to introduce myself, which is always nice. And Pizza Udi Mike.
Yo, what's up?
I just said I wanted to give him a big hug because he's wearing a pizza hoodie.
Big Pizza Udi.
Oh, I just said
Can I just say quickly, you made me think of a new song for the podcast. You all are welcome to the Board Game Barbecue.
Yeah, I had no idea what tune you were doing. Anyway, Connor, I have to introduce Connor now because he laughed. The laugh that you're hearing is
from
fun.
the heavens. I just think Mike wearing that pizza hoodie looks like a snack. That's all I was going to say. Looking like a snack. Yeah.
Snack.
Mold, yeah.
We have so much to get through tonight. It's insane. It was like I was thinking about, when I go on a long trip with the kids, and I have to say to them, guys, you got to go to the toilet before we go. Like, I was going to say that to you guys.
You said in our production chat, you're like, don't worry, I'll keep us on track. And I nearly sent Mike a message and said, no chance. There's zero chance of it happening.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Chaos.
Well, let's just start because otherwise we won't get finished. We've had a crazy, it's been insane. Connor, you've been away, then you came back, then you did a live podcast, and we were in Sydney and all this stuff. Tell us about that, all of it.
Yeah, so I'm back. You probably heard my voice on a live podcast on Thursday. So, spent 5 weeks traveling around Europe. That was pretty cool. Didn't do really any board gamey stuff, but seen lots of great sites.
How dare you not do
dare I, yeah. Well, it's because I didn't go to Germany, right? Like, if I went to Germany, I would definitely, have done some board gamey stuff. So chatted with a couple of people when I was in Sydney last weekend about the place I went. That was so much fun. I had such a great weekend. That was we'll probably talk about that more a little bit later. But Mike was in Sydney as well.
He was.
I was. Sydney was awesome fun. 3 days of goodness.
Well, okay. So how did you guys think about doing a live podcast for the first time ever? That was pretty exciting.
Yeah. It's always the case of I kept checking my watch to see how long the time had been, and there was a mix of oh my God, time's going so slow, and we don't have enough time, and we actually sort of went under time, but it was good because I think if we let Adrian sort of start another topic, he just would have talked for another half hour. So
that was just big on everyone's mind, I think. We can't go over an hour, otherwise we just get shut down. We've got to keep it quick. We've got to keep – and I think going off our usual sort of what's the word I'm looking for? The sort of structure that we normally do. Yeah, it was a bit different, but I enjoyed it. Just getting right into a topic was lots of fun, but it was great fun. It was a really good experience.
What do you think, Sarah?
I thought it was great. I thought we were, we had talked about that a lot beforehand. We were like, oh man, there's going to be 5 or 6 of us. And initially it was going to be 6 because Mitch couldn't make it in the end. But we were just so stressed out that we were going to run out of time that, we went the other way and it was too short. And I thought that was really funny. But I mean, it was good. We didn't talk over the top of each other. We were really chill because that was the other thing too. I was like, are we going to get all hyped up? And then later I'm like, it's not a rock concert, Sarah.
Look,
we're not going to get all hyped up. It's fine. We were very chill.
In my illustrious sporting career, I've learned that you never peak too early before you go out on the big stage. You got to temper it. There was a few nervous people though. I noticed there are a couple of people sort of, a bit jittery. Not naming any names, but there was a couple of people who I think were a little bit tad nervous. So,
what are you talking about?
No. We'll see. No, I'll go. The secrets will go to the grave. But it was so much fun. Shout out to the audio tech Deets. He was a legend.
Yeah, he was so cool.
Yeah.
He came out and chatted to us. I felt really relaxed after that. I think the problem with the chairs though was they were a little bit too. It was very easy to be lost inside yourself because of those chairs. Because the chair almost swallowed me up. It was I was folded over in 2 in that chair. It was weird. I was just
I can't remember. Joe was taking a whole lot of videos or photos. So Mike, you would have seen a few because you stayed with Joe. And I looked at one and I was like, is my posture really that bad? Because the chair was like, like
Yeah.
I kind of look like especially when I had yellow shirts, I looked like a melted Twinkie. Like I was sort of like,
Like we had no torso. We just had these legs and arms sticking out from the chair because the chair swallowed our entire like midsection.
It's like how Ren would draw people, like how she just draws just the head and the arms and the legs.
Yeah, those like leg and arm. Yeah, it was super weird. And I remember like Anna, one of our patrons, was watching and she said that like I was just like, you would just looked hunched over and stuff. And I was like, it's the chair. Yeah. Like I was happy to be there. And I was happy because like I remember telling myself, I didn't want to have too many expectations. And I was like, look, it's fine if you don't get anyone to come. It's just going to be cool to record in a different space. And we're actually live recording together, which is, a new thing. Usually we're all looking at each other's mugs on the webcam thing. So I was like, even that in itself was going to be cool. Like I had really, really low expectations, and to have people actually come to the event to see us, like not necessarily just for the live podcast, but to see us and play games with us or like whatever beforehand and after, that was just really cool. Like I was amazed that people came, and it was so nice. I felt very humbled.
Yeah.
With the
it was
whole
awesome,
thing.
Especially the people that came from like Melbourne and Brisbane to come join us in Sydney.
Canberra.
Shout out. Thanks again to everyone. Yeah. Canberra, absolutely. Oh, yes, that's right.
Yep.
Even came from
New
Perth.
Zealand. Someone came from New Zealand, Perth. We had people come from all over.
Yeah. So that was amazing. And of course, we had the Sydney game day on the Saturday. So yeah, I don't even know where to start. Like I've played so many games. Is there something that you guys played at game day or whatever that you're just like desperate to talk about right now?
Mike, I think there's a game that we played together that needs to be discussed.
Can we just chant first? 3, 2, 1. Sausage. Sausage. Sausage.
I saw this one.
Wolfelwurst.
Yeah.
Wolfelwurst, that was best pronounced.
Wolfelwurst, yeah.
Wolfelwurst.
So shout out to Ian O'Toole. Me and Mike were sitting at the door.
Yeah.
And I think we just sort of finished playing Lost Cities, maybe, Mike?
Yeah, we did.
And we were kind of like, I think you were getting ready to go off for your teach. And Ian lobs up and goes, do you want to play a stupid game? And me and Mike like, yeah.
Yes, of course.
Why would Ian choose you two to play a stupid game
Why would anyone want to play a
with?
stupid game with me and Mike? And so think of Yahtzee, right? And you're probably going, oh, Yahtzee. But like that's the only similarities is that you're rolling dice and trying to get matches. So you've got two sets of die. You've got a number die, and you've got an animal die. And the animal die has faces that all have animals that start with W in German. So there's like a weasel, a wasp. There's like a cockroach. I don't know.
Is that why there were those animals?
That's what Ian said. Yeah. So that's and like a quail, which I guess is whatever it is in or a pheasant. And the other one has, now correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, the numbers 2 through 5. 2
to 5, and also, either 1 or 2 sausages.
Yes. And the sausages are where this game shines. Because what you get to do is you roll the die and you get as many rerolls as you want, with the only caveat that you have to keep one die. So that can be one of the animal die, or it could be the number die. So when your turn's finished, you multiply the highest number of the animal type that you have by the lowest number out of all of them. So it doesn't matter if you've rolled a sausage, a 2, a 3, and a 5. You only get the sausage score. Mm-hmm. And the sausage is worth 1 if you have a sausage showing, or 7 if all 4 of your number dice have a sausage showing.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So you're constantly trying to hunt for this sausage. You're rolling.
And just pushing your luck. You're just pushing your luck.
Trying
to get the sausages out. And Ian O'Toole cheats. He somehow has a way of just rolling multiple sausages in the last roll and just winning a bunch of points. And it was just amazing.
I don't know if we should say that. Should we cut that? Ian cheats.
No, he doesn't cheat. It's just a really good die roller.
It's a mad clutch roll, like Dead said.
Right.
He's like, I need 2 sausages. And he rolls it and
2 sausages. He did that twice in a row.
Yeah.
It was
Waited
bonkers.
twice.
He also said that he played it with his daughter, and his daughter rolled a perfect roll on the first roll. So she rolled 4 sausages and 4 of the animal die showing all the same animals. So she scored 28 points. Wow. It's like, well, that's it. So yeah, you're either scoring like it's like multiples of 7. So like 7, 14, 21, 28 if you're really lucky, or scores like 3 and 6, because you always end up going for that like last sausage, and it ends up being a 5, and you got to keep the number. So it was great fun. It was so stupid, and we sort of were sitting in the top corner of the room, just going sausage.
Yeah.
So
people are entering the game event, just seeing you guys.
And it's like, oh, we heard you were like this really serious podcasting group. Sausage. But that was good fun. I'm glad you put that on your list of games to talk about, Mike, because I was tempted to.
It had to be spoken about. I think it was just such a funny little silly game. And thanks, Ian, because now I'm looking for a game that's impossible to find. It's a little tiny box game from Germany, but I can't find it anywhere unless I'm going to pay $100 for it. Yeah. I found one copy on BGG, and it's really expensive, and I just can't justify it. So I will be on the hunt for the sausage game for a while.
You know what? You can do custom dice, I'm pretty sure. Like, you could probably get that made. You probably could.
Cheaper. Yeah. All you need is a die and a couple tokens. You probably could if you needed to do it.
Like, you could get custom dice made with like the sausages.
Yeah. Probably do that.
Excuse me, dice people. I would like a
sausage die.
I would like a D6, 4D6 made, but replace the ones with sausages. Thank you. Bye.
That's right. You heard me. Sausages.
It's gonna be sausages. It makes sense. I think that could be like a board game barbecue game officially, because it's got sausages in it.
Just replace sausages with photos of Mitch. I reckon that'll be great.
Well, I feel like we made Ian really work hard on the weekend, because he taught me 4 games.
Oh, wow.
He taught me 4 games, and I kind of feel like that's a lot. Like, come visit us and we'll make you teach us.
Yeah,
games.
and he even said to me, someone put up a post, I think it was Kerry put up a post on Facebook today about her Lasada Day, and I was like, I haven't played Lisboa before, and Ian goes, why didn't you make me teach it to you on the board game day? I was like, so nice. Because you were like so busy, like he was flat out.
Busy teaching Sarah games? Yeah, no, it was really cool. Like, he is a great teacher. He's a very good board game teacher. And I really admire that, because that's something that I don't particularly find that easy. Harry teases me all the time that I'm not a good teacher. And I'm like, I know, it's true. I can't argue with him. I'm like, it's true.
What did you play, Sarah?
I taught more games than I played, but I did end up playing a couple of great games that Ian taught me. One of them was Brussels, and one of them was Glory to Rome, which, like, I thought that I didn't need teaching, because I used to play this all the time. So I had a friend of mine. Remember when I used to have like that Saturday game group that I run, that I ran? That was a while ago now. So I had a friend who was he was Italian, and he had like the Italian version of Glory to Rome, which he had painstakingly got translated into English and like put the English notes in all of the different card sleeves so we could read it, so he could play with us. He's moved back to Italy now, so that's why I haven't played it in so long. Like, I haven't played it in years, because he had the only copy I really knew about. I'm sure there are other people out there around that have copies of it, but anyway, it's kind of precious, right? Because it's so hard to get.
It's out of print.
Yeah, so we played that, and I was amazed at how much I'd forgotten the rules to it. So he basically started, like, he just did the whole teach again for me, and he was so amazingly good at the game. Like, he had a strat that was just like crazy. It was just like, he posted a picture on Twitter. It was just like 6 craftsmen or something like that, and he was just building. I think I got like 2 buildings completed or something. Maybe it was more than that, but for a while there, my only buildings were like 2 crappy little buildings, and Ian just had like this tableau of it was amazing. It was a beautiful thing to watch. Someone who's played the game, I think he said he's played it like 150 times or something.
Oh, wow.
So, to see someone who's obviously played around with a lot of different strategies, because the game lends itself to that. It's got a lot of wacky stuff. It's like everything can be OP in the game.
I mean, that's the whole thing, right? Like, you're looking to get the most broken combos, because someone else is going to get a broken combo that's more broken than yours. So it's just the hunt for it.
That's right. And it does have that thing. It's kind of like old school in that it's very hard to catch up. I think other Carl Tudyk games are like that too. Like Innovation as well is a little bit like that. Like if someone knows it really well and if they're ahead of the curve and they've got a crazy combo going, catching up is like, well, good luck. Like you said, Connor, maybe you can come up with something really wacky that is stronger than that, but it's pretty hard to do.
Well, it rewards like experience, yeah. And I know lots of games these days try and be more accessible, but it's sort of you lose that advantage of playing a game for a long period of time when it's like I always think about the rat tails in Quacks. Like you could have and I know it's probably like a bit of a sillier game, but there's no point getting elite because you always get run down. So no, I haven't played Glory to Rome, but I'm really keen. If anyone's got a copy at a game day, I promise I won't spill water on it. I swear I won't.
Remy, our good friend Remy has.
He does too. I saw him playing it at the last Melbourne game day. Yeah. I'll hit up Remington. Yep.
Yeah. I think you're right. I think it's definitely not like an intro game. It's definitely like I hate this term, gamer's game.
Shut up. Say that.
No, but yeah, like you said, it's a game where you're going to feel lost. Like you're going to just totally feel lost. And if you're playing with someone who knows what they're doing, you're just going to be like, what just happened to me?
Yeah.
And it was a bit like that because I hadn't played in so long. And to be honest, I was never good at it. I didn't play it enough to get good at it. So yeah, now I really want it. It's like the sausage thing. That's a hard one. It's a hard one to get.
There are print and plays floating around for it. That's how Remy got his copy.
What are you going to say, Connor? Are you going to say something?
Nothing. No. I want to keep it PG. Never mind.
But he also taught me Brussels, which just quickly, it was very tight. It was it's a really interesting game. I think it's kind of old school Euro-ish, but in that it's not super thematic. I mean, the thematic tie is like you're in Brussels in that area of like Art Nouveau type decor and buildings, and it's you are a master builder, I guess. You're a architect, and you're trying to build buildings. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can win, but you can build buildings. You're trying to like get this area majority scoring as well, and there's lots of tracks, so you can go up tracks that help you get more points from area majority, and you can go up tracks that let you get more points for building buildings, and you can get lots of money for selling art. And I played this with as I said, Ian taught me, and I played it with one of our patrons, Jace, and Jace just had it nailed. Like he was getting so much artwork. There's a really interesting mechanic in the game where if you have one piece of art, you can then next time you take the art action, you can select more than one. Like you can take two things of art to look at and choose one. Then you're trying to do like this set collection thing. For every different color art you have, you get, every time the round ends, you get money for every kind of artwork you have, and you also always get to select more art to look at. So you can do the art collection thing. So there's like multiple different ways you can get ahead. And Ian and I both did this thing where like every time we got an art, we would sell it because we just needed money because we weren't ahead on the money thing. But Jace somehow got ahead on the money thing, and then he was collecting all this art, which meant he kept staying on top of the money thing, right? Because every time the round ended, he would get money for all his artwork. And so he kind of just got ahead, and it was a bit crazy. And I ended up, I think I made some end game points that made it not as embarrassing, the score. But someone came over when we were playing. Was it you, Connor? No. Someone came up when we were playing and my score was on 7 and everyone else had like 30 something. And I'm like, I swear I'm doing something. Okay.
That's so demoralizing. It's like, oh man, I'm so proud of myself. And it's like, 50 points behind everyone else.
Yeah. But yeah, so I caught up a little bit by the end because I'd had I was trying to get all my buildings, my beautiful Art Nouveau building made. And then it also has that cool thing, and I think the game's pretty old now, so it would have been probably one of the first games that had this, where you put one of your tiles over the board game space, the actual board space, and so if other people go on that action, you get a thing, right?
That's always good, yeah.
Yeah, I just like stuff like that. I don't know what it is, but it just gives them I just like to see the displeasure on someone's face
Yeah.
when they're like,
I
I
have
want
to
to take
do
that
this.
action, but
Yeah.
I don't want to give you something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part's always fun. So I loved it. I thought it was really good. Jace really liked it, and he was like, I want to buy this. And I knew in my head, I said to him, well, maybe you can buy it off me because I know I have too many games. But when we finished, I was like, no, you're not buying this off me.
I ain't selling.
Never selling this. No. And I have the card game version, which is a really nice little version of that game as well.
Is there a
so
roll
I
and
recommend both. No. But there will be probably. I don't know. They're not as popular anymore, right?
No, they're not.
All rights artists. So maybe not.
critical
Trick
mass.
taking version.
Yeah, that's it. The trick taking's the next one. Well, speaking of trick taking games,
Yes.
Mike, there was a trick taking game that you wanted to talk about.
A segue there that you threw to Mike
very good
straight
segue.
away.
Trick taking games aren't always my bag, but I got shown one a couple of days ago from Joe, friend of the podcast. Joe, part of our community. He pulled out this interesting trick taking game called Bug Council of Backyardia.
What?
And
I love the
it's
name
cool.
of it.
Well, the reason I want to talk about it is I had a feeling Sarah will get intrigued because it's a trick taking game with a Mancala in it as well.
Oh.
And so I had this really cool sort of this cool mechanic. We sort of play 3 rounds, and at the start of the round, you have to pick one of 2 cards. Now, the terminology I can't remember, but basically you're sort of calling, I am not going to win tricks this round, or I am going to win tricks this round.
Yeah.
And both are sort of giving you a different sort of focus. And the interesting thing was this Mancala had like 6 different sort of insects on it. And if you're trying to win tricks, whichever card you end up being your last card is going to be one of these 6 suits. You get extra points if there's cubes for how many cubes there are on that animal. And so you'd sort of, but the thing is to manipulate the board, you had to lose the trick. And then the person who actually came last in the last trick that was done would get to pick up all the cubes in front of those insects and drop them around the board onto the different insects one at a time. And any leftover would go into the middle of the board. And that's what the person trying to lose tricks is going for. The person trying to lose tricks cannot win a single trick. And if they don't win a single trick the whole round, they get all these bonus points for these cubes left in the middle.
Cool.
So there's this really cool push and pull. You're trying to win tricks, but you have to lose tricks to sort of be able to manipulate that board. And it was just a really sort of interesting sort of game. The artwork was really cool and interesting as well. And I had a lot of fun with it. It's just, like I said, trick taking isn't always my thing, but this one I ended up quite enjoying. And that was Bug Council of Backyardia.
Yeah. We
really
played a trick taking game at Mitch's house that did not have good artwork. It was a terrible stick 'em as we're like we could at like whatever time it was, 11 o'clock at night on Friday, do better art. Like we could come up with some. It was so bad. But it's an interesting game. I might let Mitch talk about it a bit more when he's on the podcast next because like he loves trick taking games. But yeah, it's just a different slant on it where you don't have to follow suit or anything like that. So you're probably going, well, what's the point? But you want people to win like tricks that are bad for them because it's negative points. Yeah, it's just an interesting. I think you'd like it, Mike, because it's a little bit of underhanded, like sneakiness and so trying to tank other people's stuff. But yeah, it's good.
Sounds fun.
That sounds fun. I like things with negative points.
Yeah, you can be really mean. And I think it's one of those things where if you like everyone needs to be mean, it doesn't work if only one person's mean because then everyone just tries to win their own as opposed to like everyone else trying to torpedo the other players. So yeah,
if you're playing a mean game like that, you all have to be on doing the mean stuff. Otherwise, it's not as fun.
Oh yeah, you can't pick on someone that's just being nice to everybody.
Yeah.
What do you mean? You guys pick on me all the time, and I'm always nice to you.
Yeah.
Are you though?
Yeah, I'm pretty.
Well, during the game maybe, but you're not nice all the other time, so it's fine.
Oh, fine. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I mean, I'm not happy with it, but I clearly not going to win this argument.
Let's just have an argument for the next hour and a half on the pod. Okay. We should do sizzles. Like I'm trying to keep us on track here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of other things I want to say about the game day, but should we? I think we should.
Yes.
Sizzle.
Let's move on.
Let's sizzle. Okay. Who wants
Let's
to go
sizzle.
first?
I'll go first. Oh, no? Okay, Mike can go first.
No, Connor, you go first, Connor.
Drunk on dog.
Mine's really short. So I got to play New Horizons of Spirit Island. So this is I believe the term is more accessible version of Spirit Island, i.e., the easy version of Spirit Island. So it strips it down.
More your speed then.
Because I always lose that game. It strips it down even to the point where the original game has modular boards and you can sort of flip them around. They've got different, and you pick and choose which one you want. This one just has a board that you fold out, and it's either got a 2-player side or a 3-player side. So it's only up to 3 players. It also comes with 5 new spirits that are compatible with all the other Spirit Island games and expansions, but their powers are a lot more straightforward and a lot more forgiving because if you haven't played Spirit Island before, it's one of my favorite games of all time, probably my favorite game to play solo. It is a reverse of, all those colonizing games where the colonizers are trying to push in, establish towns and cities. You are the spirits. You're fighting them back in conjunction with the native people, the Dahan. So the game comes with these 5, I guess I'll call them streamlined spirits, in where your innate power, so this is a power that you can use free. It doesn't cost you any cards, doesn't cost you any energy. You just got to sort of tap into the spirits using the hand management that I guess is similar to Mage Knight. It has a similar type of hand management with cards that have multiple uses, where your innate power is you continuing to push and move presence throughout the board. So one of the hard things about Spirit Island is trying to manage your presence on the board while also managing the invaders, whereas these powers, you have to move a presence. So you're sort of moving, always trying to interact, interlock and all that stuff with the other ones, with the other spirits. So you're trying to work together, get those combos going. So I played it with my sister and my niece, they're pretty, like my niece she's in year 5, so she's 10, and she's been playing board games forever. My sister's been playing board games longer than I have. They play some pretty heavy stuff, but they sat down and I explained the game, and my sister goes, "It's always funny because whenever you explain a game, I'm always like, oh, this is too much." But she said after the first round, it made total sense. She's like, the cards made sense, the timing of everything all made sense. It doesn't come with any of the advanced foes. It just comes with like a basic one. It doesn't have any of the plastic, so it's either the little wooden pieces or they're just cardboard cutouts effectively, so little punch boards. Look, if you are even slightly interested in playing Spirit Island, or if you love Spirit Island and you're trying to get other people into playing it, I would strongly suggest going and picking this up. So I know in America it's like exclusive to Target, but here you can just buy it wherever. So, New Horizons of Spirit Island. There's not much to talk about in terms of the differences between the normal Spirit Island, but I just think the fact that they're making it more accessible. I'm trying to think. I feel really bad.
Is it a little bit cheaper too?
Way cheaper. Yeah,
without the plastic and stuff.
There's no plastic. There's less boards. There's less cards. So there's double ups to the original in terms of the powers. So a lot of the basic cards are still in there. It's still got the great, I need to forget a power to learn a major power. Then you're making those choices of, and even my sister and my niece were then going, "Oh, I really want this card, because it's going to help me with my innate power, even if I'm not actually going to use the actual card itself." And even to the point where it does that great thing where it has, Mike, it's like what cards you should get next in the base game. She was like, "I'm not getting the next card on my list. I know which card I want to get." She went and grabbed the next. I was like, "Oh, I'm so proud of you."
That's good. That's good.
Oh, my heart melted. So for me, this Sizzle was less about, new, fresh game. It's more about a game that I love, being introduced to some people that I love playing games with. So that's why New Horizons of Spirit Island is my Sizzling game for the week.
Fantastic.
Nice. All right, Mike, what about you?
So going from something very, very new, I just discovered something very, very old, and everyone
Oh,
is
did you
telling
just
me.
discover this?
I just discovered this, and everyone's saying, and that's what everyone's saying to me. How did you not know about this? So I love to play games that I can maybe play with Renata, or I might have a gamer buddy come over once in a while, and just two of us. So I've got quite a collection of 2-player games. And a friend of mine recently asked, "Oh, have you played Lost Cities?" And I said, "No, I actually hadn't even heard of it." And he pulled up this Rainer Knizia game called Lost Cities, and I was blown away. It's I've got a bit of an obsession at the moment, you might say, about Lost Cities, and I'm trying to get everyone to play with me who have played it or who haven't played it, because it's I don't know, I just feel like there's so many layers to this game the more and more you play it. And I absolutely love it. It's a really, really simple card game where you literally play a card and pick up a card. But how you do these things is sort of where the layers come into it. There's 5 different colors in the base game, or in the new version of the game, you can flip the board, and there's 6 different colors. There's an extra deck in the game, and each deck is literally numbers 1 to 10. And you get 3. I kind of never know what they're called. I call them handshakes. They're pictures of handshakes on the board as well.
I think they're called deals, aren't they?
Yeah, like
Deals?
deals.
Is it deals? Yeah.
They're investment-y things or whatever. Yeah.
And basically, you shuffle this deck up. Each player starts with 8 cards and will always have 8 cards. And basically, what you're trying to do is you're trying to make rows of numbers increasing 1 to 10. So if you play a 5, you can't play a 4, 3, 2, or 1. But so it's pretty simple. So yeah, that's mostly what you're trying to do. But the scoring is what makes it really interesting. So you have to score at least 20 in each color to make positive points. Meaning, if I have 25 in yellow, I've got 5 points. That 20 points is thrown away, and whatever is over 20 is positive points. And also in reverse, if I only play a 5 in yellow and I don't add any more cards, I'm now negative 15. And that's when these deal cards come into play as well and make the game very interesting, because these deal cards, these handshake cards, there's 3 for each color in the deck. And if you have one, you need to play it before you start playing numbers. And it's an interesting thing to do, because as soon as you play a handshake in yellow, Connor's like, well, I'm not going to put down any yellow cards for Mike to take, or I'm going to make sure I hold on to my yellow cards. So putting down these cards is a big thing in the game, because it's letting the other person know I'm concentrating on this. Because remember, I talked about those negative points? They are also multiplied. So these deal cards will times 2, times 3, or times 4 your entire score, the scoreable part, depending how many of them you have on the board before you start playing the numbers. So if you play down a handshake card and don't play any other cards, you're now negative 40. So it's a big risk to do. And the beautiful thing is 8 cards in your hand are just not enough, because I'm trying to hold on to these blue cards because I don't want to give them to Connor, but I'm trying to hold on to these red cards because I've got some good cards, but I need more to come into my hand. And it's this big game of what do I play and how do I play them, because if you don't play the card into your tableau, you actually can discard a card into the middle, offering it to the other player. And this is where I think the beauty of the game is, because I might discard a red 7, hoping Connor doesn't take it. So Connor might think he's safe to discard a red 5 now because, oh, well, Mike doesn't care about the red cards. And then I might spend my next cards picking those up instead of picking up from the deck blind. And it just goes backwards and forwards, and you sort of play 3 rounds and add your score up. And once again, it's play a card, pick up a card, and it's just genius. You get in these really, really tricky situations where you just don't want to play anything. You want to hold everything in your hand, but you want more cards at the same time. And it's just this push and pull. And I don't know, I'm obsessed. It's a really cheap game. I think I picked up my brand new copy for like $35. And yeah, it's really accessible. It's really easy to teach. But once you start playing, and especially if you play multiple games with the same person, the meta game just starts coming on in, and you just don't trust each other, and you get in these really fun situations where you just don't know what to play. And I'm obsessed. I love it. It's available on BGA as well.
Yeah,
Renata's loved it, and she's been playing on BGA a bunch as well. Whenever I'm not playing with her,
the app is amazing. The app is
an
really
app as
good.
well.
Yeah, I played so much on the app, and then there's like different challenges, and there's different like bots, and you go from like the easy to the hard. And
Yeah, okay. I was going to say,
what
sort
my
of
favorite
like
part is?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, you know what I really like? When someone, let's say Mike invests in blue and he like puts 3 investment cards in and he thinks he's going to get blue, and then I just keep on picking up blue. And then
Oh,
I'm getting like a handful of blue, but then I'm like stressed because I don't want to discard any blue. And
yeah.
then you're just pushing it and pushing it and pushing it until Mike goes, "Oh, gonna have to start putting down the like I give up." And then he puts like a blue, 7. And then I'm like discarding my blue 2, my blue 3, my blue 4, my blue 5,
It's
my
the
blue 6.
worst.
I love it so much.
You
And you
still
know what?
got
In
these
the app,
cards that you just can't use, and it
right.
breaks your heart.
Yeah. And then you're like, oh, you bastard, you've been holding on to this. And like in the app, you can actually, like if you play with normal people, although I think you can do it technically to the bot if you wanted to, but that would be weird. But you can send emojis. So you can like, do a tongue out emoji after you've like put down the card they want and stuff.
That's
Yeah.
evil.
Yeah. It's pretty funny. I highly recommend the app. It's really cool.
And if anyone is looking for Lost Cities, you might start getting confused because of the success of this 2-player game. They've brought out like a roll and write, board game. They've pulled out all these multiple versions. So if you do look for it and you want this dual version, look for Lost Cities. That's it, not the board game.
Yeah.
There's always other versions. So just be careful what you're buying if you are looking for it. But if you are someone that wants to play 2-player games with new people to the hobby or with experienced gamers. Like when I came up to Sydney, I brought it with me and I just took the cards out the deck. I wrapped them with some non-friction tape and put the board in my bag as well. Just left the box at home. Traveled fine. All the cards were sleeved. And yeah, it was just really light and small to take around to play while we were waiting at an airport, or Connor and I were playing 2-player while we were checking people in at the Board Game Barbecue game day in Sydney. And yeah, just really accessible, and I love it.
Nice.
Yeah. Great game. Great game.
What were you going to say before I interrupted and then?
No, I interrupted you, so that's fine. That's okay.
No,
I can't remember. I think I was going to say something similar about how you're just waiting for them to get rid of something, pretty much what you were saying. And you said it way better than me anyway. So, but yeah, I love it. It's that great push and pull of when do I go? Like you're just waiting. Yeah. It's like I want to get one more card. It's like I have the 10. I have the 9. And it's like, that makes sense, yeah. But I kind of want the 7 or the 6 as well. I don't just want to go with 9 and 10 because that's not enough.
Yeah.
I need the 6 and then all the rest. Yeah. The amount of times that when I was playing with you, Mike, and all of a sudden I'd be like, okay, I'm just going to play the 3. And Mike would play the 2. It's like, yeah, that makes sense. And it's not even that much. It's like 2 points, but it's still so annoying. It's just like, yeah.
Still hurts.
And I bet you've had that since the start of the game too. And the other great thing is you know where the cards are going to be, right? It's like it's either in your opposition's hand or it's in the deck because it's not in your hand.
Yeah.
So where is it? Can I draw it? Can I top deck it? Yeah, it's great.
So much fun.
Yeah. And like I don't like to discard investment cards because if, let's say that you've got a great hand, lots of yellow, and I get rid of one of my yellow investments, that's horrible for me, right? You're going to get, you could get that mega bonus, whatever, if you get how many cards do you need?
If you can play 8 cards into one of the rows of cards, you get a bonus 20 points.
Yeah. And then if you do the 9, then you get an even bigger bonus.
No, it's just bonus 20. There's just one bonus.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I don't want that to happen. So I'm like holding on to all these investments. And then sometimes there's a point where I'm like, I've got to get rid of these investments. I'm just going to play it. And then you're like, you play it because you don't want the other person to get it. But you're like, you're sure that they're the ones with all the yellow. So you're like, I'm playing this investment. I'm going to lose points on this because I've got no yellow. And then... and then it turns out you didn't even have yellow.
This game made me scream at BGA, like, why doesn't this have a take back button, an undo button? Because I put a card. I put a card into the discard instead of playing it into my area accidentally, and then Renata took it off me, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. Now she's got my card. I need to score points, and I was very upset.
That's why games are always better in person.
Absolutely,
because unless you're playing with a jerk, you can generally take it back.
Yeah.
How about you, Sarah? What's Sizzling?
Oh, man. Should I? I mean, I did talk about Brussels a little bit. I'm just... Okay, I'm going to sizzle, but I'm going to do a quick one.
Talk as long as you want.
Okay. I was meant to keep us on track.
We are on track.
It's fine. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I'm not stressed. No, so I played Horseless Carriage, which is, you've probably heard of it. It's like the latest Splotter game. It's got kind of a fair bit of hype at the moment because, it's a new Splotter, and I think they don't do a whole lot of games, really. So when they do, it's kind of a big deal. And I was blown away by it. I really was. Like, I think the hype is worth it. I think that it's definitely, like their games are always expensive, but I honestly think it's worth it. I had an amazing time with it. I didn't think it was as mean as some of their other games. I mean, there is definitely an area control component, and I think that we probably didn't unlock that as much. Like, I think we were all a bit scared because it was kind of me and Adrian's first time playing it. I know Ian's played it. But I think we kind of were a little bit hesitant to really try and push to be mean to each other, because it was like, if I go over here, it's safer and I can just sell my own cars. If I go over there, it's like, well, maybe I'll go first, but then it was just a bit too stressful, I think, for us to really be mean in it. So we were kind of playing a little bit nicer, but generally it is a nicer game compared to like Food Chain Magnate. But you're trying to build cars. You have this little factory board, and when I say little, it really feels little, because you're going up these tracks, these research tracks, like there might be design, speed, safety, whatever. You're trying to get up these. You can only go up one track. You can go up all of the tracks, but you can only go up one each round. So it's like a really slow process to go up.
So frustrating.
Yeah.
It is, because you see something you need, like you're like, I need that tech and I can't get it, but other people can push you up. And that's something we didn't play around with very much. But so here's the thing. What people want, like in the market, what people want is actually how much innovation has been happening in that space. So you might want to push someone up just so that design, which you're good at, you're far up the design track. You might push someone up because however many spaces everyone is from the start of that track is how much advanced it is. And then that design board comes into, and it sits next to the board, which is actually the market where like the selling, like this is the cars we need to sell. People want these cars. And it makes it harder for people to actually keep up with the other people that aren't high up on that track. They struggle to sell those cars because you have to keep up with what the current tech is. No one wants to buy your car that's not ahead of design. So you want to manipulate these markets in this way, right? That's the part we didn't push for because we were so stressed out about just literally fitting we were just literally trying to fit stuff in our factory. Because the other thing is, I think the first tech I researched was the engine, which, I think should go in any car, really.
Important, unless you want to get around like the Flintstones. Right.
The piece is like, it's just this huge piece. It's like this massive, it took up half of my board. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, how am I going to fit all the things in? And then, and me and Adrian are looking at Ian like, but what are the rules here? How many things? He's like, you can put as many things in your factory as you want. Go for it. But of course they're mean and they give you this tiny little board and you can't fit all the things you want. And you've got to fit research. So the things that actually, the points that let you go up those tracks are something else you have to put in your factory. So there's this little set square or something, and you put these tokens in your factory somewhere, and then that is going to give you an income of these research points. But of course, they are taking up space as well. So it's like, well, if you want to do a lot of research, you can just put in 4 of your little set square tokens in your on your board. Go for it. And
that takes away the room of everything else you're trying to do.
Exactly. And then you're like, amazing. Oh no, I can't build a car.
That sounds cool.
Oh man, it's so cool. And then it has this really unique turn order mechanism where if you're first at engineering, and you can choose this. So this is another thing you can actually put in your factory yet again, another token that's going to give you more. It's called Gantt, like a Gantt chart. You can get more Gantt charts than anyone else. It's really weird. But anyway, when you decide you want to choose if you're going first, you have to spend all of the Gantt charts that you've collected from round to round. You have to spend them all at once, and you decide if you want to be first in engineering or first in sales. You can't be both. If you're first in engineering, you're going to be last selling.
Wow.
Right? But if you're first in engineering, but it's so clever because if you haven't done the research, you can just be good at Gantt because you can spend your Gantt charts, and when you do the engineering part, so when you're actually putting stuff in your factory, you can act as if you have the tech of the highest tech of everybody.
I sort of tuned in and out when Ian was explaining it because you guys had started and I think we were playing something behind and I was like, I'll just wait until the people behind me are ready. And when he explained that, I was like, that's it. That's what makes this really, really cool.
Really clever. Like super clever. Like I don't know how many games I've thought, the first player thing is the most important thing or like the most fun thing of the game. But in this, it's like, oh, wow, that's crazy.
It's normally like the last thing you do is like, well, I have some extra points. Oh, some extra cash. I'll just go buy the first player token. Like, whatever.
Yeah, that's right. And like, and there was a massive question mark in the last round for me because I had this bad situation where I couldn't afford to get, like I didn't have enough space to get a second car factory. So I was only going to sell like the 4 or 5 cars or whatever I was going to sell. And Adrian and Ian had now taken over in that sense. They had two car factories and they were going to sell more cars potentially. But I was ahead in terms of innovation, right? So then my question was, well, do I need to spend all my Gantt to go last in sales? Because if I do that, I'm first in engineering. And then Adrian, who was like last on all of the tracks, well, most of them, like he hadn't done research, right? I was like, I can screw him over because he won't be able to be first in engineering, which means he'll get everyone's tech. He would be sort of constrained into only being able to build the tech. So his second car factory was not as good as the first, right?
Yep.
But anyway, it turns out by then, I guess maybe we weren't as good as we think because there was still a lot of cars on the board to sell to, right? So the cars on the board represent contracts or whatever, people who want cars. There was still plenty to sell, and I think me and Adrian ended up extremely close, and Ian won, of course. He'd played before, right? So yeah.
That is not an
no,
excuse.
he played very well.
Bit of an advantage.
Look, it was tense the whole time. Like I felt like I was doing really well for a long time, and then it was super tense. We were all like, well, this is anyone's game really, kind of thing. I had to end the game early as well, which was interesting because I was like, they've built a second car factory. I got to end this. I got to pull the pin.
Yeah.
So that was stressful, but I really loved the spatial puzzle of it. I thought that was really hard and so interesting. And I love when a game goes, just do whatever you want. It's fine. And then you're just like,
but I know that if I stuff up, it's totally my fault. Like because I've had all these options.
It's always a trap. If a board game says, just do whatever you want.
I was doomed from the beginning. It's like, that's why like I lost. Yeah, when I kept sort of turning around because you guys were playing behind us at Behold Games, and we were playing Root, and sort of in Root, like it's very interesting. Like you have your turn, or Mike was playing too, of course. You have your turn. You don't, unless you're playing like an ambush card, you sort of you just do your bit. And I was turning around, and you guys were so deep in thought, like. Yeah. I nearly took a photo of all 4 of you because you were just all like this. Even Jace, who was kind of doing what I was doing because he was kind of half playing with Adrian, he was like full on zoned in. Yeah. So, it looked really cool. It definitely looks like a Splotter game that people who wouldn't normally play Splotter games would like to try because of that spatial thing, because of the not the charts, but those the areas that you can buy. Even the thing is like, well, this is your loading bay, so you can't put anything in there. It's like, of course, like you've got to have a loading bay in your factory. You can't just put a wheel balancing machine in the loading bay. Like it's got to be clear.
Like we're trying to get rid of these cars, guys. Why did you put this here?
What's the wheel balancing there? Yeah.
Yeah, and look, I don't want to. It's not nice. Okay, like I said, it's a kind of a nicer Splotter game, but it's definitely not nice. There's definitely room for screwage here because that board, people can just go, no, I'm just going to place my marketing thing here and I'm going to sell these cars, and it's like, why would you do that? I'm trying to sell these cars here. Why would you? So there's still that people can screw you up. So I just want to say that. But I do think that I agree that people will like that. Like people who are like, no, I tried that Food Chain Magnate and I hated it. Da, da, da. I think they might like this more because it's just fun. It's just fun to do your own factory stuff. It has both of those elements. It has interaction, but it also has, I'm going to do this factory how I want to do it. and build my own car empire. Woo! It's really
You
nice.
sold me. I definitely want to try this. It might be I just realized I've not played a Splotter game before. I've not played any of them, so
Yeah,
I'm
and
definitely
you
looking
would
forward to
like
this
it
maybe
because
being
you
my
got
first one.
you got that Tetris piece thing
Yeah,
going.
that's what's got me in. Like that idea
Yeah.
of that's how you sort of create your flow. Yeah, that sounds really cool.
Do you get to be different car inventors too? Is that no? No? Am I wrong?
No, well, you're not. No, you're not any. Oh no, you do. Actually,
Like, it's
sorry,
just a
you're right.
character
'Cause
sheet,
Ian
but-
was Ford.
Yeah,
Ian
yeah.
was Ford.
That's what I thought.
Yeah. I didn't even pick up on that. That's how not thematic it is, really.
I just said, no, I'm going to lose because I'm not Ford. That's it. I'm going to lose.
Right. It's because we went Ford. That's why Ian won. And he stole my color. I was going to be Ford. I wanted to be blue. But I just find it funny that the research tracks are like, everything is stuff you need in a car. I just thought it was funny. It's like, oh, well, my cars have engines and my cars have wheels and your cars don't. So I don't know how your cars work, but
Do you guys remember the TV show Pimp My Ride?
Oh
Yeah.
yes, Exhibit.
Yeah.
Mike, if you played this game, that's what your cars would be like. You would have
Oh,
like
yeah,
Pimp My Ride
100%.
cars. You'd have like jacuzzis,
Yeah,
like
fridge.
Nintendo 64s. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm researching up this one.
well, you'll have to
100%.
create your own
Yeah.
tokens for those because they would not that.
In the, when the horse carries me.
dear.
No, that's
Yeah.
certainly really cool. I definitely,
sound very
I'm
cool.
the same as Mike. I'd like to give it a try. But it's weird. It's only 3-player, but it kind of makes sense at the same time.
I don't think they really do games that are good with two. I think a lot of them, because they are heavy, like interactive games, it's usually
Yeah.
better to have more than just two people,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
a shame because,
So,
it'd be
so
great to play.
I was going to ask you, the fact you played it 3-player and you said you weren't necessarily as nasty as you could be, do you think
Yeah.
that's because you weren't having to step on each other's toes, or it didn't matter that there was 3-player? You still could have just kamikazed into other people and ruined it.
I just didn't have the confidence to, because it was the first play. I think 3 players with this game is awesome,
Yep.
and you definitely could tread on each other's toes more. Like we just didn't. I think because of the same thing. I can't speak for the other guys. That's why I'm saying I don't know. But for me, I was like, I'm not really confident enough to go on the attack because I don't. I would rather just go over in this corner and sell to these guys.
Yep.
The other thing as well is you're kind of, in a 3-player, there's that interesting dynamic, right? Where if I go and I try and sell to the things that Adrian can sell to, like he's got the same level over there and he can sell to them and I can.
And now back to our original schedule.
I have a small child who's complaining about a bug. It's not the same as me getting attacked by the wasp.
Oh, the wasp! Oh,
Do you remember the wasp?
It's back for revenge.
Sorry about that. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh yeah, so like you've got 3 players and there's, the board. If I had gone for, say, stuff that Adrian's trying to sell to, right? Then we're creating this situation where, Ian can just go and be peaceful over here and sell as much as he can. So it's like, well, I could do that and try and screw Adrian over, but then we're hurting, we're both going to hurt from that.
That's right. You're just doing it for the sake of doing it, as opposed to taking a move that's going to cripple them, but also be advantageous to you. Like there's I see what you're saying.
Like if Ian was ahead at that point, like if Ian was really far ahead and I was like, oh, okay, like that would be worth it. But in a way, we'd also be sacrificing. Like I would be sacrificing myself to attack Ian, and then Adrian would be the one that was safe and probably would get ahead. So there's that tricky thing. I guess you have to just be careful. That's why I think the best thing to do in the game, now that I've played it, is to manipulate what is going to be in demand and just try and be ahead on that track. Like try and get design to be really popular or whatever and be awesome at design. Anyway, I've talked about it way too much. I said I wasn't going to talk about it that much, but it blew me away. I think it's the best heavy game I've played for a while, like this year, at least.
It's amazing.
At least. Yeah.
Cool.
All right. That was the sizzles. Let's do some announcements.
You.
Okay. So Melbourne Game Day, you guys, you will be there, I assume.
We'll be there.
I'm thinking
Being
about
announced
it.
this week officially.
Yep. So it's getting announced this week. Tickets will hopefully be on sale soon. It is still at the Preston Town Hall, so same location as last time. Yeah, I'll be there. Mike will be there. Dan will be there, but no Jules, I don't think, because
I don't think so.
He's a trader and he's
abandoned
moved.
us.
Yeah,
he's a turncoat.
He can't make up his mind, that guy.
Yeah.
And it's June 17th. We're allowed to say the
June
date, right?
17th.
Yes, June 17th.
Yes, we can.
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
another announcement. The return of the Board Game Awards.
Where's that air
Board Game
horns?
Bar-
Pew, 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 pew.
That's awesome. I love that, you guys. Okay, so for people who
I don't think you did.
Dan-
I don't think you did love it. The air horns.
what? Wait, what? Oh, I thought that was a good horn though.
Oh, okay.
We could get someone else to insert a sound effect, but I
you
think
should
Mike
do
does
a
that really
horn.
well.
I think you should do a horn. Well, what's your one?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm not doing one.
Ah,
You're the one
Like a
with
little
okay.
kazoo.
No, I can't do sound effects. I can't do them. I don't do
that
it.
makes them better.
Anyway, the return of the Board Game Barbecue Awards. So this is something that like Dan usually does most of it because he's a legend.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, every year we get people to nominate what their favorite board games are in these categories. We have 8. We have 8 this year. Best solo game, best party game, best light game, best medium weight game, best heavy game, best artwork, best expansion, and game of the year.
Ooh.
I'm going to talk about oh wait, there's even more. Wait. Nominations are open to anyone in the community for 3 weeks. You can nominate on Facebook, Discord, Instagram, Twitter. You can nominate in all 8 categories or just a few. Connor's laughing at me because, like, I don't know what's going on. Okay. Once nominations close on Sunday, May the 7th, isn't that Mother's Day?
Well, you're the only
Oh,
mother
sure.
on the podcast, like,
Okay.
at all,
I'm pretty
actually.
sure that's Mother's Day. We will take the most nominated game in each category and they will become the official nominees for the Board Game Barbecue Awards. Then we hand it over to the esteemed panel of judges, our Patreons. So if you want to be a judge this year, you can sign up to our Patreon and you'll be in it. And this will culminate in the Board Game Barbecue Awards night, which is coming in late June. And we hope to have some surprises on that show as well. So get voting. It's starting. Okay, so we want to talk about 3 particular categories tonight. Best solo game.
Yep.
Okay.
From 2022, I think.
2022.
Yeah.
2022.
Not forever.
Yes, because our awards this year are for the games last year. That
Correct.
makes sense.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you guys have any particular standouts?
Can,
Because I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not great at this because I don't solo really.
so can I just preface something that
Sure.
I think two of these games that are on here, I haven't played yet, but I think I'm going to love them the best as solo, and that's Oathsworn and ISS Vanguard.
Oh.
I think like they're going to be good, but I played the solo for Dead Reckoning. That was pretty fun, a little bit different. Creature Comforts, Mike. Have you played that as a solo?
No, I haven't.
Yeah.
The
Oh,
amount of nomination, like the amount of games
Yeah.
There's a lot.
that had solo modes. Like, have you ever seen anything like this? I don't think I've ever seen anything
so
like
good,
this
man.
for
I can
solo.
scroll for
Burn
hours on
Cycle.
these things.
Burn
There's so
Cycle.
many.
I forgot Burn Cycle came out last year.
Oh yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, there's like
Wowzers.
401 games in this list that came out last year that have solo modes.
yeah.
I have picked 2.
Yep.
I don't solo much at all, but one that I have played solo and that I actually quite enjoyed was Planet Unknown.
Mm-hmm.
That's made it to my top 10, and the solo was really, really good and actually quite fun. And the other one that I wanted to point out was Turing Machine, a deduction game that you can play solo because it's
yeah.
app-driven as well. I thought that
I'd
was
play
really
that.
clever
I'd play
too.
that solo.
Absolutely, yeah.
Seems like a quick little good puzzle just to play by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
What about you, Connor?
Yeah, I think Burn Cycle was probably my favorite game to play solo. I think it's kind of like with Too Many Bones, how there's not that much difference. Like if you're playing solo or with someone else, it's still the same game. You're just controlling more characters by yourself. So I've had that many conversations with Def about Burn Cycle. We just like, oh, we love it. It's like Metal Gear Solid, the board game, even though there is a Metal Gear Solid board game. So you're
It's
sneaking
more
around.
Metal Gear Solid
than
than Metal Gear Solid, the
sneaking
board game.
around. You don't want to set things off. It's nearly like a techno horror because you're like sneaking and you don't want to get caught by the robots. Yeah, it's really cool.
That part's really cool. I like that.
But not enough to keep it.
But not enough to not sell it to Connor. Well, I mean, yeah, that's just because I have way too many games. And I don't solo. I don't play solo. Do you know there's a Monster Hunter World, the board game here?
Yeah.
Connor?
Ooh.
Do you know, we're getting sidetracked. Funny story. I was going to back that, and Def said to me, "What are you doing? Don't back that. Buy too many bones." So I listened to Def all the time, so that's what I did. I canceled my pledge for Monster Hunter, and I bought too many bones instead.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. That is so funny. But, probably not a bad idea.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty happy with my choice. Right.
No regrets. Okay.
No regrets. Best party game. I'm going to lead this off. Can I lead this off?
Yeah,
There's only
do
one.
it.
Ready, steady, bet. That is the best party game. That may be the best party game of all time. It is horse racing with dice. Mike, have you played this game?
No, I've played the other one that's similar to it, but I haven't played this one yet.
It is so good. So we played this at the Sydney Game Day. Harry actually ran it, and he used an app because normally you're supposed to roll these dice, and you have this guy going, and we're off, and now horse number 7, and like 7's the most common one. Everyone playing was up there. It was like we were like,
I heard the screaming.
People were like pushing and shoving each other to throw their tokens down, and then they realized that they put it on the wrong spot. So they were reaching over. By the time they moved it again, someone had taken it. And then Harry had this strategy of like, he just went 7 for the win. Like he just took it because he's like, well, what have I got to lose? But yeah, no, it was so much fun. So Ready, Steady, Bet is my pick for best party game of 2022.
Party games are usually my flavor, and I haven't played that many of these ones, which I'm actually quite surprised. But I just saw one that I have to give a shout out to. It's so crazy and silly, and that's Gimme That. The roll and write game of up to like 6 or so players, where there's only one pen, and you're all rolling a die, trying to steal the pen off each other to be the first one to write number 100. It's just such a crazy, silly, loud game. I've played at my game group a few times around some non-gamers, and we get the weirdest looks because people are high-fiving and banging on a table and writing down numbers and stealing pens very violently from each other. Gimme That would definitely be my pick. It's from the guys that make Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was definitely an interesting purchase of mine last year that I really enjoyed. But also, I'd like to shout out Too Many Cooks by Aussie Designer.
I was going to ask.
And,
yeah,
that was a good one too. Definitely a good one as well.
What is it about party games that all the other decorum of board games just gets thrown out the window? It's like it's not a good party game unless you're inflicting assault upon other people to try and win. Like anything. Throw burrito. If someone doesn't get hit in the eye, did you really pay throw burrito? I don't think you did.
This is a sensitive topic for Mike, and I don't think we should.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Shout out to Mandy. I hope your finger's getting better slowly. It's still a permanent injury from Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza. And I think her finger is still hurt from 6 months ago.
When I saw her at the Melbourne Game Day, she was like, I'm not playing that game ever again. Sorry if I put words in your mouth, Mandy. I just remember talking to you about it. And she never forgets.
We all feel really bad. We're never going to forget either.
No, there's another story, right? I don't think I've told this story on the podcast about Taco. I know we're supposed to be talking about this, but I have to get this out. So at PAX, me and Adrian were playing Taco Cat Goat Cheese Pizza, and we were playing with this guy, and he had his glasses, right? But his glasses were like hanging, like where you put your glasses like on the top of your collar. You know where this is going. He did the gorilla, and he smashed his glasses because he was like bang, and smashed it. And we didn't know what to do. And I think Adrian was kind of just like, well, that's what happens in this game.
I think this game needs a disclaimer you read out before you start playing.
Anyway.
But yes, Gimme That. Also crazy and fun.
Give me that. Too many cooks.
Selling it. There's a game called Touch It. There's a party game called Touch It.
Nope, it's not Bop It. Bop It was great.
Yeah.
Oh, Bop It. I love Bop It.
Let's go through to the keeper with that one. That's a cricket term, guys. And we'll move on to the next one, which is best artwork. Like, seriously, how good is artwork in board games these days?
Oh, yeah, no, it is good.
We can say, yeah, it's okay.
I was like, have you seen my board games?
Yeah, Sarah's not the best person to judge of this.
No,
Right,
it's still
I'm
nice
terrible at all
artwork. It's
these
just
things.
bland.
Right.
So a couple of these. So again, Dead Reckoning artwork by Ian O'Toole, just great,
Yes.
simple with the graphic design, so good. I reckon again. I mean, I didn't. Woodcraft. And massive shout out
Woodcraft. Hang on,
and-
isn't Woodcraft the one that's like the cover looks?
Yeah, but the art's
Bit
like
wonky.
good. No, and
it?
Flamecraft, that art is
Yes.
whoa, that is so good. Flamecraft,
Cute little dragons.
Yeah.
Yeah. Endless
adorable.
Winter, of course, the Miko.
Yeah, the Miko, with the Pale Americans. And it's like someone was like, I think this is his best artwork. And I was like, yeah, I can kind of see that. Like I've got all the West Kingdom stuff, and this is like really good. Yep.
I do not like Wonderland's War, as you know, but it does look cool.
Yeah,
Like I like
that was my
the
pick.
crazy Wonderland vibes.
Wonderland's War is absolutely gorgeous. I think the artwork is really beautiful. The board's beautiful. I think it's a really well designed game. I love the game, but that's fine. I know the game's not for everyone, but the artwork I think is phenomenal. And like I've had a few non-board gamers come over to my house, and the Cheshire Cat, big purple glowing Cheshire Cat on the front cover is what people point to, like, oh, what's that there? Like it catches the eye. It looks gorgeous.
There's also Verdant, which is Beth
Yes.
Sobel art.
Yep.
Her art's gorgeous. I think Weather Machine's probably going to get my vote. Am I even allowed to say that?
Yeah.
I'm voting for Weather Machine.
Yeah. It's
Because
one
it's
vote, unless you
gorgeous.
have the vote of 10 people.
I do. No, I do not. I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to any of these things. I'm like, best solo, I don't know. Best party game, no. I'm not the authority on any of these things.
Sarah doesn't like to have fun when she plays games.
Yeah.
Right, exactly.
Another
I want
one,
to punish.
again, game wasn't for me. Artwork by Andrew Bosley, Merge to the Dark Road. That was sick. That was so good, that art. Like, I wish I could just get it all and put it in my study and just have it there. It's so good.
You could do that if you wanted to.
Then I can't sell the game because I don't want to play it anymore.
Okay, don't do that then. Yes, so anyway, there'll be more on that later.
Yep.
And that is happening now, which is super exciting. The other thing that we've got going on, which is pretty crazy, is we are doing a con next year. I'm sure people know this by now because we talk about it a lot. What? What? We're doing
You
it.
don't
What?
say.
PlayCon. www.play-con.com.
And I think we've even had our first announcement for
We have
partners come out too. So that's pretty exciting. Do you know who it is, Mike?
It's very exciting.
Garfield Games are coming down.
Garfield Games. So, yep.
Very exciting.
Oh, what? So exciting. Adrian's
For
head
what?
like exploded.
Yeah. He's been like a little kid on Christmas Eve, looking at his presents under the tree, knowing that he's just like, I can't wait. I can't wait to put the announcement up. I can't. But that's not my Adrian voice. That's just excited kid voice.
No, that sounded exactly like Adrian.
So that's pretty exciting. And more to come. More to come.
If you're looking for the latest and greatest in board games, then look no further than Advent Games. Dee and the team don't just sell games, they play games, they know games, they love games, just like us. The first thing you notice when you head to adventgames.com is their amazing range of games. Dean and the team have worked tirelessly to make sure that every game is properly catalogued into the website. You can search by classics, expansions, Euro-heavy games, games with miniatures, solo games, and even those hard-to-find games. Shipping is a flat $10 if you live in the Sydney metro area, $15 for the rest of Australia. And one of the great things about Advent Games, if they don't have the game that you want in stock, they can try and source it for you at a competitive price. So if there's a Grail game you've been chasing, head over to adventgames.com.au and talk to the team. And don't forget, if you sign up for their newsletter, every Friday you receive an email with the latest specials, newest arrivals, and all the games that have just come back into stock. So there's no excuse for missing out on that game that you desperately want in your collection. So why not grab your next Sizzling game from Advent Games? That's adventgames.com.au.
Okay, question of the pod. We have 2 questions of the pod because we didn't do it last time because it was a live podcast. All right, you ready? So the question was, How does art influence your board game purchase? Mike, would you like to do the Facebook contributions?
I will. Felicity Grace said highly influential, particularly because art reinforces the theme. The game itself still needs to be mechanically sound to be good, but an ugly or basic design means I'm not likely to try it unless someone else wants to, which is sort of how I answered that question. Our friend Dana replied saying, I wonder if this sounds shallow, but my first impression of the box cover determines whether I go any further in a game store. If a game is ugly, in my opinion, I just can't do it. If I manage to get past the box cover, it's so much more enjoyable playing an eye-catching game with functional iconography. An example of this for me is Castles of Burgundy. It was just an eyesore for me. Great game, but the anniversary edition made for a better playing experience. Our friend Liz Cole said, yes and no. I love Oleon, and I know it's a beige masterpiece. I'm not turned off by bad art, but good art does make something more exciting to play. I also want to spruce a lot of my games, so I do want to buy pretty components and make my current games even more aesthetic. And that's the thing you can do now. If you don't think a game is pretty, you can make it prettier somehow.
You can print your own Etsy, the BGG components, all that cool stuff. Yeah.
Stickering your meeples, all that sort of stuff. Absolutely. And Kathleen Stanford said, if someone brings a game and wants to play, my questions will be all about the mechanics. Art doesn't matter. And how much I enjoy the playthrough and the experience of a solo mode will inform whether or not I buy a copy. Art and color palette, however, are everything if I'm considering buying a game without having played it first. If it doesn't look pretty, I probably won't bother researching it further. That's a great answer.
Yeah, I like that. I was like, oh, yeah, I know what you're talking about. Game, question's going to be about the mechanics for sure. But it's true that we do, like if we see something in the flesh that when, I will get drawn to the thing that looks appealing to us. But I think the thing that looks appealing to me is beige, though. That's the thing. If something looks like it was made in the 90s, then I'm going to look at it.
Yeah, this is my jam. Yeah, I think I think what I was trying to articulate on the live pod, but didn't do it so well, was that I'm happy to play a game no matter what the art looks like, but if it's a product that I'm going to buy and display it and have it, art's probably kind of important because it is a product. Like I'm never going to not play a game because I don't like the art or it's ugly, but I would like.
So does it like pain you to buy something if it's ugly?
Yeah, like really.
Oh, I don't want to.
No, it's just I think probably like that Castles of Burgundy one. I like the prettier things. Like
the pretty things. You could just hide them in a cupboard. I have games that are hidden in a cupboard.
Is that what, all of them?
The ugly stepchildren. Just stay in there. You're not allowed out.
Exactly.
Right. I'll run through the Discord contributions. So Stephen Lake, art in games is going to run the range of beige, Sarah, to important. I have had
from beige to important. Is he saying beige isn't important?
Yeah, I think so. I think you have to dig at you. I have had Ra for just over 2 weeks and have tabled it over 8 times, so I'm going to go with important. Graphic design being art adjacent is something that is far more important to me, and I think that's probably a good separation to make in art and graphic design. And I think a few people on Discord actually did sort of discuss that and had a bit of a discussion as well. Chris Talkium, art/graphic design is important to me because I'm likely to enjoy a game if it's thematic, and art has a significant role to play in that, but it is not everything. Yeah, look, I'd probably be similar to Chris in that.
Yeah.
It's not everything, but it definitely helps enjoy the enjoyment and feel more thematic. Fousel, so art is essential and potential. I bought games because of the art, but also when there is a good game regarding gameplay. I wouldn't buy it when I don't like the art. Luxury mindset, but too many games out. All say we. Too many games out, I agree. And Jonathan, I wouldn't say I buy games because of the art. It is part of the package that entices me to want to own the game. Quality of components, artwork, and how the game plays all work together to make me want to own it. So it is not the key, but part of it. That is a great answer too, I reckon, because it's like, hey, look, if the game is smashing out of the park, has pretty good components, and the art's a bit maybe, I'll still really like it. So great answers for that. I think we all sort of said our answers on the live pod, didn't we? So
We did.
we did.
We
Yeah.
did.
we
I don't want
we
to
won't bore people
myself
again.
too much. Yeah.
All right. What was the
Always
other
bang on about it
question,
anyway.
Sarah?
The question, thank you, Connor. The other question was favorite premium components. This is a terrible one for me to answer because I hate premium components.
Do you really?
Oh,
I'm
Sarah.
I feel like such a downer right now. I feel like such a
it
negative.
just makes sense. It's definitely
It's the kids who are wrong.
no, it's the kids are wrong. Am I jaded? Am I a jaded board gamer? No, it's the kids who are too colourful and premium.
That's right.
Mike, you say your favourite because I reckon we're thinking of the same too.
Yeah. You guys say it at the same time. I'll count you in. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
Quacks.
Squishy berries.
Oh,
no.
Yeah.
Oh.
Squishy berries
No.
all the way.
Because in my mind, premium, dude, means
yes.
you're getting them on top of it, right? So whether that's the metal coins that come, I'm not
okay.
saying
Yeah.
that's me. I'm not saying that's the right thing. The squishy berries are ace. In fact, there are better squishy berries in Tidal Blades.
Total Blades.
They are better
Oh.
squishy berries. Yeah,
Better squishy berries.
berries. We should have a squishy.
You heard it here
Yeah,
first.
I'm the authority on squishy berries. But for me, the quacks, because it just adds to the game, and I actually think it's essential because you actually get more life out of the game. I know people put them in coin case and all that stuff. I thought you were going to say the Orleans pieces.
Yes. Actually, I don't think I've played with the fancy
Oh, haven't
Orleans
you?
pieces yet.
Oh, that's
I don't think
the
so.
only time I've played with it. They're the same.
Instead of me being a curmudgeon, I'm actually going to answer this for real because I actually do have a premium component that I paid extra for that I think is
Oh, fancy
Awesome.
Sarah.
iron clays.
Oh,
I got the
heck
iron
yeah,
clays.
yes.
Hell
From
yeah.
Bath.
Every game is better when you play with iron clays.
Yeah.
All right.
I really love 'em.
Enough from us. We'll go through.
Yeah.
So I'll go. So Manny, generally speaking, game trays. Yeah, that's a good one, actually. We're also material. He's like, game trays, they actually have a function. So game trays, a good insert does wonders for my OCD, and the progression from wooden inserts a la broken token to foam-based insert folded space and game trays has been awesome. So Shoitan says, KDM, I'm feeling the belief that cardboard and meeples are perfect for games and minis are not necessary with good art. The sole exception is Kingdom Death Monsters. They're ultra detailed and very imaginative monsters. You can say that again, really capture the mood. Yep. I agree. Yeah, so minis is probably another one. Fowzel, I'm a material addict. Metal and glass for every game with metal coins must be a good game. And then Les Lucid, the aquatic meeples in Aqua Garden. I love a good silk screen meeple, and I think these are the best I've seen in any game. The cats in Boop might also come close, though. I haven't played either of those two, so I'd be interested to see what they look like. The aquatic
You know what
meeples.
I thought was crazy? I played through the campaign of Charterstone, and that is a one play only, unless you get the reset pack or whatever. But it's like a campaign, it's a legacy game that came with metal coins.
Yeah.
I thought that was crazy.
Yeah.
It was like, but we're going to play this one time.
But take them out and put them in another game to replace the coins.
Yeah, well, I use them. They're only ones though, so that's kind of harder to find games that only have ones. But I'm just using it like in prototypes. I might use it or whatever. But sorry, just thought it was odd.
No.
Yeah.
But I think also
game,
that metal coins are now more because every Kickstarter you get metal coins with it or some sort of metal currency. I really like, speaking of metal coins, I really like the ones for underwater cities. They're cool. I don't know if you've seen them from BGG. They're pretty cool.
I like the barrage ones because they're like Art Deco.
Yeah.
Fancy.
I wouldn't know Art Deco if it hit me in the face. So
lots of lines. That's all I got. Okay, and now it's time for our new question of the pod, which is going to be, what game would you like to see an accessible version of? So Connor's sizzle was, the new Spirit Island, what is it, New Horizons?
New Horizons of Spirit Island, yep.
Right, and I think that there could be other games out there, like My First Barrage. I'm pretty sure Adrian's talked about that before or something. Do you have one? Do you have a game that you would love to play with your kids or whatever, and it's just not quite, it's not going to happen for a long time? Would you like to see an accessible version like My Little Scythe? did that, and there's a few around.
Would you say
So
like
tell us?
Jaws of the Lion? Is that like an accessible version of Gloomhaven?
You know what? I think that I would actually like to see one that's even more for kids,
Yep.
because it's not really like it.
No.
It's not really.
No.
It's still
the
very
theme,
complex.
Yeah, and even like the theme behind it. Like I was playing it with my niece, and it's like, and you find these corpses. Oh, okay, let's just kind of skip that one. Like it's like,
Yeah, there's like a giant blood blob kind of thing. It's like it's pretty.
I mean, it's
gruesome.
no Kingdom Death Monster, but it's still, there's a fair spectrum between what is and isn't. So yeah, no, I think that's a great question, Sarah. Probably Spirit Island was probably up on my list. I think dungeon crawlers, I quite like them and they're good to play with families. So maybe, I can't think of one right off the top of my head. But you know what? This is kind of an adjacent. I love the system for Kingdom Death Monster. So not my first Kingdom Death Monster, but a game that uses that system where you're building the village. Awesome. You're building the village. You're fighting, but it's made for maybe a more accessible audience. Let's call it that. So still with the system, the village building, the fighting, the armor system, and I'll probably people come after me with the pitchforks because it's like take all the good stuff and leave the theme. But yeah, that's probably my answer.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking like a similar thing basically, because I was thinking it would be great to have Frosthaven, but that you can play with your kids, and that because kids love leveling up. They love the leveling up stuff. Every game that they're playing now, well, not everyone, but most of them are like survival games where you're crafting, where you're building. You know what I mean? I think that's super cool. I would love to see like an accessible version with that in it. It doesn't have to be Frosthaven, but I think that would be super cool because the characters in there seem really kid-friendly. That's the thing. Like they're so colorful and stuff like that. Like when Ren sees, the minis that I've painted and stuff, she's just playing with the minis. She's just playing with them. She loves it. And so, I think that would be really cool. I remember, obviously I'm thinking about my experience back to when like we played Hero Quest and Advanced Hero Quest, the ones where you could actually start leveling up your character. I was addicted to that. I loved it. Kids love that stuff. What about you, Mike?
I was actually having a quick look at my game collection trying to figure out my answer, and I think it's an interesting one. I think an accessible version of Root would be really amazing. Because like that's a game that scares me to actually try to teach people or learn properly myself because there's so much to learn with all the different factions. I think an accessible version of Root would actually be really cool.
Yeah, I kind of felt like Ahoy tried to do that, but I don't know.
I haven't played that yet.
Yeah, but it's not the same. But yeah, for sure, I would buy that in a heartbeat.
Because it looks so accessible. It looks so cute. Like kids love the look of Root, the little cats and animals and stuff.
Yeah, the little green bread.
Yeah,
green bread. Best board game component. The Woodland Alliance toast.
Yeah. Yeah, totally. Okay, awesome. So we'll post that up on our socials and you can contribute, and then we might read out your contributions on the next podcast.
Yes.
Okay, I wanted to say a quick shout out to some of our patrons and of course like our amazing community. Got to thank you guys. You're the reason why we do it, why we're still here. 238 episodes strong. Woo. Ryan Jackson, Samuel Mason, Stuart M, Stuz, and Thomas Rosner. Thank you so much for being Patreons. It means so much to us. And if you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/boardgamebarbecue. If you sign up and donate, you can get access to we do exclusive podcast episodes. We do sometimes just like impromptu events, like if we're in town. What else do we do? We do special Discord stuff.
Yeah, we do like the Jackbox party packs, parties, the pajama parties on Discord.
They're so much fun.
Yeah, so they're heaps of fun.
Merch packs, depending on what level you check it out. And if you don't want to contribute to us in that way, there's other ways you can support us. You can leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, or I think Spotify has a rating system now, and that would just be amazing. We would love that. I think that Dan still reads out the 5-star reviews, right?
Let's go. Yes,
he said he would.
I think so.
He said he would.
I believe so.
Right. So if you leave us a 5-star review, we might read it out, and you can do that in a funny way. Make him say something funny.
Do a rap or a sonnet.
Yeah, just do something. He's gotten good at raps though.
Yeah.
Don't do raps because he's getting good at
Yeah,
raps.
he
Do
smashed that
something
one
Yeah.
last time. Absolutely.
Yeah. It has to be a challenge. Got to give him a challenge. You can also get involved in our Board Game Barbecue community. You can join our Facebook. You can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube. We're everywhere. You can't get rid of us. You can't avoid us. We're everywhere. We also have an awesome Discord where people are just chatting all the time. It's crazy.
My
We talk
phone
about everything.
literally blows up throughout the day.
Yeah.
The bleep, 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 and just purple. My screen's all purple from all the Discord.
I used to be number one. I used to have, when we if you look at that scoring system, how much everyone chats on Discord. For a while there, I was number one. Oh my God. Yeah, I was addicted. And it's because there's so many good conversations. I'm I got to weigh in on this.
The leveling up. Yeah, I forgot
something.
Speaking of leveling up, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And then I can't anymore because of uni. But I would love to. I got FOMO. And there's people playing games. Anyway, that's all the links for those are in our show notes. And now it's time for swearing of oaths.
Yeah. Ooh. Yeah.
And also checking in on our old oaths. Mike.
Me.
Tell us.
My oath was to play Atiwa, which was a newish game by Uwe Rosenberg. And I was successful and I really, really enjoyed it.
Yay. Well done.
It was an amazing game, lots of fun, had some really cool different mechanics. You're sort of trying to create this really cool ecosystem with bats and the local villagers and trying to train villagers to be more environmentally conscious. The game, I think, has a really great message in it as well about the environment and trying to encourage people to treat the environment with respect and help the native wildlife and the growth of trees and things. It was just an amazing game. Really enjoyed the experience and looking forward to playing it again. The next game, it's a rare thing that I say this. It's a Kickstarter that Renata just got in. It's a game called Hair of the Dog.
Oh, I know all about Hair of the Dog.
Do you know that one?
Not the game, but the process of
about
having Hair of the Dog. Yeah.
The theme is you're in a dog-friendly pub, walking around with a beverage, and you want to pat all the dogs that come into the bar. But the bar obviously wants to be profitable, and if you're walking around with an empty drink, they're going to kick you out. So you have a little cup filled with cubes, and you have to spend the cubes to walk around and try to pat the dogs and not get caught by the wandering bar staff who are going to kick you out if you don't have a drink in your hand. So it just looks really cute and really interesting. The Kickstarter caught our attention. So, I, Michael Frew, just swear to play Hair of the Dog by the time I'm on the podcast next.
That sounds like such a random theme. That's hilarious.
And
hey, is there...
right in.
Mike, I know you're a fan of Ace Ventura. Is there guano in that Atiwa game?
I was hoping there was going to be guano.
Why is there no bat poo? I thought that was all about bat poo.
The bats do poo technically in the game because if you have enough bats in an area, you can, on your turn, send bats away and the bats poo seeds and plant new trees.
There's no poo meeples, but there's a process.
The poo's not mentioned. It's inferred.
That's fine.
Right.
Inferred poo.
Right.
The best kind
That's
of poo.
Good enough.
Inferred poo.
Yeah. All right, Connor, what about you?
It's been so long, but I did remember because I was like, let me do something I'm going to have a bit of time. And that was to get back into painting my minis. So I did, and I've really enjoyed it.
Yay!
So I got a couple.
Awesome.
I got a couple here. It's really cool because when I first started painting minis, I want to say 20 years ago. Yes, 20 years ago, pretty much. It was really basic, right? I used to paint Warhammers. Now it's you get mud in a vial, so you can put mud down.
What?
Yeah, there's one called Strickland Mud, and you can put mud. So,
really?
So these are my swamp boys.
Is that the one that cracks and stuff?
Yeah, you can get that one.
Okay.
This is grit,
I love that.
so it makes it really easy to dry brush. So
that's cool.
It is, and I've said this to a few people. I've said it multiple times. I am not a painter's elbow, right? I'm so bad. But with all the contrast and the inks and all that stuff, it's so easy to make it look good. You just got to commit a couple of hours, a week or something like that. Yeah, man. I've really enjoyed it. I just chuck something on the TV, whether it's footy or a YouTube video. I just paint. It's really good for mental headspace. But I think,
I mean, you still have to kind of watch a video to know how to use the technical paints the right way. But then once you do that, it's like, oh wow, this is kind of like cheating. It's
there's one technique I learned, like with the blending. And so I did this one. I'll see if I can find some old pictures or the minis. And I like made it like smoke. So it was like smoke for like a white.
Ooh.
And so it was like dark on the top and white in the bottom. It made it look like fog. And it was really, really cool.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
that's cool.
In my mind, it looked cool. I don't know if it came out. But I'm going to have a bit of a cop out. So I'm going to play a solo game, a game that none other than Mitch Ketty recommended to me. And that's Friedman Freezes Friday.
I was just thinking about this game.
Yeah, so I actually took it away to play in Europe because I was like, it's a little solo game, but I never played it because I was too stressed in the airport that I was going to miss my flight. So I was like, I don't want to get anything out in case I got to leave, and I was so tired, like in the hotel room, that I just slept after I had my big meal. So yeah, I kind of swear that the next time on the podcast I will have played Friedman Freezes Friday. You can't just call it Friday, can you? Because everyone's like, what's Friday? You got to call it Friedman Freezes Friday.
I don't know. I think people know Friday.
Well,
it's a pretty. I don't know.
It's just
I don't know. It's pretty. Like it's kind of well known because it's so hard.
Yeah, true.
It's so hard.
Oh, it's hard. I don't want to play it anymore.
That's all I know about it. Like I don't think Mitch has actually won it, has he?
Oh well,
Hasn't he?
that's like. Are you surprised?
I won it one time, and I was like, I've done that, and now I never want to see this again.
I can't remember who I was talking to. It might have been Manny, and I said, whenever I win these really tough solo games or like a campaign game, I'm always convinced that I've inadvertently cheated because it's like it's so hard. Like I couldn't have won. I couldn't have won legitimately. So yeah, I'm actually looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think this one does require quite a lot of luck in the start of the game, and it's like, but to be honest, I think it's probably like the world's hardest deck builder. Really, honestly, it's so hard.
I didn't do my research.
Oh man, it's like your starting deck is like zeros and deaths, and it's just you're just dying more and more and more and more, and then you can sometimes crawl out of it if you get lucky.
Well, I mean,
anyway, good luck to you.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'll get on
all the confidence.
Yeah, you just oozing confidence.
But I mean, you want it to be.
Yeah, of course.
You want it to be like that. I think. I think it's perfectly what it should be, and it's great. I do think it's great. I honestly do. I'm not talking it up, but I do think it's really cool.
Are you just gibbering so you don't have to admit to not have done your oath?
No, I have. I've made inroads. My oath is like playing all of my Shelf of Shame games, and I've got a list here.
What's your pass mark? Just like one after each podcast?
No. I've got like I think there was 27 on my list.
That's pretty good, actually.
And I don't want to do this forever, so I'm trying to get through a few. But obviously this time I've gotten through more because we had game day and all that stuff, right? So, so I have done the two Brussels games. Mm-hmm. They were on it. So I played the card game version with Kerry, which is very similar to the board game one that I played at game day. So I think that I'm probably going to sell the card game maybe because to me, I think I'd rather the media version.
Yeah.
And they're very similar. I don't think I really need to have both. Both of those are done. Ghost of Christmas, played that. Trick-taking game where you're actually playing 3 tricks at once, past, present, and future. Pretty cool. I like it. Imperial Steam was amazing. I'll probably sizzle that at some point. Spoiler alert. Station Fall, I taught, ruled up on it. Man, that looked fun. I cannot wait to actually play it. I didn't play it. I just watched and helped people and was the rule checker because there's a lot going on in that game. Oh my gosh, it was crazy. So that one's not done yet, but it's like, kind of done because I was a participant. No, okay. Well,
you didn't actually play it.
You didn't play it. You haven't played it.
Battle Line, which I've played like a gazillion times, but I hadn't played my copy. It was in shrink still. So I played that with Zoltan. And Cat in the Box, which is, the one that I ordered straight after or maybe during the podcast with you, Mike, when you told me about it. So, so that's pretty good.
That's a good run. Yeah. That's a good run.
How many is that? That's 6. That's 6. There's no way I'm going to do
what are you down to now? How many
are
left?
21. 21 now.
Oh, so you started.
Because there were 27.
Yeah. That's a good dint. That's a good
It's
dint.
good dint.
I know. It's funny though, because I was like, I meant to start with PAX before Rihanna. Because I asked people, I was like, what should I start with? And everyone's like, oh, you should start with that. I'm like, all right, I'll start with that. And then
Just
I
ignored
didn't do
them.
that. I ruled up on it, and Ren sat at the table and she was going to play. And then I was like, oh, you can't play this. So we ended up playing, I think, You're a Penguin. And I put PAX
I love
away.
that. Back for Brianna. You're a penguin. I know which one I'd rather play.
Right. The penguin one.
100%. Yeah.
Well, I was going to actually learn it solo, and then I did have
You're a
someone just
penguin.
totally no, yeah, it's best solo game ever. That's what I'm voting for in the awards. No, I think someone said that PAX games are terrible solo. Like, why would you do that? It's a multiplayer. They're multiplayer, designed for multiplayer, and it totally like rained on my parade. I'm like, oh, okay.
No.
Maybe I won't, because I'm not a solo player, so I was like very easily swayed by that, and I was like, yeah, okay, I don't want to do it now.
Yeah. It's a bit like when you're supposed to go out for a run and it's like, oh, it's raining. So I guess I can't do that now. It's like, oh.
Yeah. Or not even it's raining. It's like, oh, it looks like it's
cloudy.
gonna rain.
Yeah, those clouds are quite
it's a little
low.
cloudy.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going to continue with that for now. I'm not going to add it.
Is that fine, Mike? Are we happy?
Yes, it's not the kind of oath you can do in one go to play 27 unplayed games.
Right.
So she gets a bit more time.
Yeah, come on, I played 6. I played 6.
Nah, 6.
I think if
it's
you'd
a
only
bit.
played 5, I would have.
I'd be upset.
But
6.
I'd say she set a benchmark.
Yeah, ooh,
She has to do
true.
6 every time that she's back on.
No.
The next one I'm supposed to be on, I'm gonna be like, nah, can't do it. Put Sarah on, and that way, like,
Yeah. Puts the pressure
Swap
on.
with me. Someone swaps with me next week and expects me to do 6. I'm like, no, I can't. That was really fun, guys. Thank you so much for joining me.
That was great.
And yes, thank you. And we kept it very
that was
reasonable
good.
time.
Yep.
I think so. I thought we were going to go for 2.5 hours today, so we did well.
No,
Imagine if Adrian was
Thank
on
you.
the podcast.
I can.
If
I can
we have
imagine.
time, Connor, should we talk about a game of Root?
Oh
You don't
my
want to
god,
mention
yes.
that. You don't want to
No.
Thanks
talk
for
about Root?
and
No,
keep
do
playing
it.
those games.
All we need to mention is that I beat Connor and Jules in Root, and nothing else needs to mention. Guys, you have a great night. Thanks for listening.
Do you know what? No one
Sorry, you have to tell
had
us.
seen, most people hadn't seen this side of me when I get really mad when I play games. I was
Right.
You
furious.
were
Really?
so
So mad. Because Jules was like, I was definitely going to win. I was like, listen, fool, you were not. I had serious momentum coming up, like mad momentum coming up. And I was like, oh, I was so mad. So anyway, MJ.
You had mad momentum coming up, and then you just got mad.
Well, yeah,
instead.
the momentum was gone because MJ attacked me and gave Mike a domination victory. Bless
Yeah.
MJ. Love her to death.
Did she know it was going to happen, or she had?
No,
Oh,
she did.
yeah.
She did. But
Oh,
the
she did.
confusion was that she thought the game was going to end anyway. Like she didn't
Right.
realize that if Mike didn't win, she thought, oh, well, Jules was going to win because that's the end of the game because she had the
Yeah.
last turn before Mike's.
Right.
What we didn't explain is that, no, it just keeps going around until someone gets 30 points or Mike holds domination for the whole, yeah.
Right.
Oh, and then Mike kept
All I'm
bringing it up.
hearing is that I won the game.
Oh, yeah, it was an asterisk,
all I'm
baby.
hearing.
Like, it's like the 2020 grand final, asterisk. Like, it's not legit.
Yeah, if she didn't understand that, if she didn't understand it was going to continue until
But
the start of your turn when you have Mike's like, no.
Still
I
good.
will say,
Still
if she
good.
was going to pick someone to win, it was definitely going to be Mike. Like, because there's no way she's not letting Jules win, and she always
Right.
picks on me. So,
Right.
I
Totally
just kept
fair.
going around letting everyone know that I beat Connor and Jules in Root, and I just didn't think anything else was worth mentioning. But the anger in Connor, mwah, delicious. It was fantastic. It fed me joy, and I enjoyed it.
And when I heard later that Mike won, I was like, wow, that's amazing.
I
It
thought
was
it
a
was amazing.
heartwarming story, It was like the underdog story.
hang on.
and then I was told that, oh no, MJ helped him.
It's heartwarming if I
Basically did
win.
it.
Like I'm like the likable
Are you the
hero in
underdog?
this. Like it's like, yeah, we're all
Aw.
cheering for Connor.
Look, the likable hero doesn't announce that he's the likable
Yeah,
hero.
yeah.
Okay.
Because that's why
No,
I got to let
that's-
people know they like me.
That's not true. That's not what happens.
They do that. Don't you watch those movies?
You gotta be humble.
Nah.
Oh dear. I am the likable hero. Okay, on that note, thanks so much for listening. See you next time on the podcast. Hope your next game's a sizzling one.
See ya.
Bye.
finger guns. Pew, pew, pew.
Pew, 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 pew.
Because you might say something incriminating,
Or
and I would like to.
who's going to
capture
say
that.
something incriminating?
Well, I mean, you always do, Connor, so
Me?
that's not hard.
I
But
don't know.
and
I
I'd be
can't
like,
see any waves
I want to give you a hug.
on my thing.
Where have you been the past 238 episodes?
Europe.
Yeah, with
I actually have, this is
Oh.